Okay, so today we are going to look at passing the half guard, but we're going to kind of take a different view about it. So we're going to attack this arm for a Kimura. And we're actually going to roll through and get into a Kimura trap, and then we're going to work for a few things from there. So if my partner has half guard and he starts looking for the underhook, this is when it particularly presents itself as an option for me. So he's gone through for the underhook. What I really don't want him to be able to do is start working his way up and coming up to this position. Then I have to look at other options. But as soon as that underhook starts going in, to make this Kimura available to me, I'm going to switch my hips out. So I'm going to take the cross-face arm across to the other side. Really important that I don't just cover the shoulder, because he's still going to have the mobility in the arm to lift. I need to come right over the top of the arm. Then I'm going to switch my hips and I'm going to pinch my legs on that bottom leg. So it kind of restricts his ability to start moving or shrimping. Once I've switched, I'm going to come in, I'm going to control at the wrist, and I'm going to lock in for my Kimura here. So it doesn't matter really where this arm is at this point. He's probably not going to want it to be behind his back. So he's probably going to be trying to tuck it in to try and stop me from being able to finish anything from this position. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm just going to commit myself over. So I'm going to roll over onto this shoulder and I'm just going to like jump my legs through. Like sometimes here we'll go to jump free and his legs will just like entangle my leg a little bit. Just start using your shin and just start kicking free and rolling through. So now once we get to this position, it's important that we are able to control it. The position of his hand is going to be super important. So I'm going to straighten my arms and I'm going to push his hand into his belly button. So nice, strong, straight arms, good, strong wrists, and pushing down. I don't want it to be too high up here. If it's on the floor, I'm going to come up and start attacking. We'll look at some of those options in a minute. But if I'm just initially looking for the control, belly button, nice, strong wrist and control. So if he tries to turn or go anywhere, this control over his body is essential for me. So for now, I want you to just get to this rolling like Kimura trap position, and then we'll start looking at some options that we can do to hit from there. So we're in our half guard. He starts worming in that underhook. Arm's going to come across over the top of the arm so I get some weight through the underhook. Little switch of the hips. If you can see my like bottom leg here, both of my feet are going to be on the balls of the feet, so I'm not just like sitting down on my hips, so it makes it easier for him to push in. I want to have some pushing to him with the balls of the feet. My hips are off the floor, so I'm creating some pressure. Control the wrist, lock into my own wrist. Then I'm going to roll down to my shoulder, push myself through, and then really punch that arm into my partner's belly button. We're going to start moving our hips closer. That's where we're going to start attacking from in just a second. Okay? So I want you to just work on half guard, partner's going for the underhook, little switch of the hips, lock up the Kimura, roll through, and that's where we're going to attack from. Okay? 1, 2, 3. All right, so we've switched, we've locked in the Kimura, done our roll through, and we've got control over our partner. So really, he has two options from here. Like, if I'm keeping good control. If I'm rubbish on the control, obviously he has more options. But if I'm keeping a good, solid control over the arm, he really has two options. Does he want to lift himself up or doesn't he? And depending on his reaction, depends on what my reaction to him is going to be. So let's say, first of all, he starts to lift himself up. So he starts to like turn in towards me. He can't really turn away from me, because if he turns away from me, like he locks the Kimura into place anyway. So starts turning towards me. So I keep that locked to his belly button. As he lifts up, that little space underneath his body, I'm going to slide my knee into that space. So we're going to look at three main options that we can do from here once we've got that knee underneath and we're locked in the position. Number one, just the back take. So my foot is going to come over. I'm going to make that top hook. I like to get my seatbelt locked in now. Some people like to use this to help push them across and then get the seatbelt. I prefer to go seatbelt now, but however you want to do that's fine. And then we're going to use this leg to pull across, and I'm going to point my bottom knee to the ceiling and pull my partner across to the other side, hook in, or however you like to control the back at the end. So here he starts to turn in, knee slides in underneath. Second option, we're going to bring the leg over. So instead of going over the leg, we're going to go over the top of the shoulder. Once we've gone over the top of the shoulder, we're going to pull this arm up high, and we're going to pull ourselves across to the opposite side. Lock the leg in, and we're triangle up. As long as we've got the calf sitting nicely against the neck, we squeeze, we get a nice finish. Or we've got this arm to attack. So we can lift in, we've got wrist lock, also got straight arm lock as well. And then, oops, sorry. The final option we're going to look at from here is we pull the knee underneath. Maybe I'm thinking I'm not able to get him across to the other side, or he keeps blocking on that. So we're going to use our forearm and throw our leg completely over the top. Center ourselves up into this armbar position. Although this is a good armbar position, if you notice the hitchhiker, it's quite an easy out for him. So I would prefer to bring my leg over the top, so I just get a little bit more pinch, a little bit more control, and then come down, and we finish the armbar. So again, real fast, those three options. Number one, he starts to turn in, still keeping that good control. Hand to the belly button, arms locked in. Knee under the body. Number one, lock to the hook. Seatbelt, moving across for the back take. Number two, we go over the top of the shoulder. Once we're over the top of the shoulder, if you wanted to grab your ankle now, you could. Or just pull the arm up high, pull him across, locking your triangle, and finish. Okay, just take that leg up quick. Or throw the leg completely over the top of the head, start to push away into the armbar, bring the leg across for a little bit more control. If you feel like you've got enough control without bringing the leg across, just finish the armbar from there. So partner with the Kimura grip, or partner that's in the Kimura, sorry, you're going to start turning in towards, try to come to the top. Look at the back take, look at the triangle, and let's look at the armbar. 1, 2, 3. Right, so let's look at a couple of options when my partner decides he's not going to want to come to the top position. So we, of course, keeping this locked in. So the first thing we're going to look at is if I see that he hasn't got any grip on anything. So hasn't gripped his belt, hasn't connected his hands. So one thing that we have just immediately available to us is we're going to walk our legs away. We're going to push the hand to the floor. Scissoring the legs so that we turn ourselves over onto our belly. So we can finish the Kimura without having to lift his body off the floor. As long as I keep this locked in, I'm going to move up. I'm going to put the weight of my body through his shoulder. Then keeping the wrist locked to the floor, we're going to start to lift the elbow. Really, really strong submission there when we've got the weight through and isolate that shoulder in that way. Hand down, lift to the finish. If we're not able to finish it like that, we can always walk round, lift up, step over the head, and finish the Kimura around the back of the body like this. So if my partner does have his hands connected, and I can see that I'm not able to get that down to the floor to finish the Kimura, we're going to need to look at some other options. So one option while we're still laying down on the floor is the nutcracker. You guys done the nutcracker before? Nowhere near that nutcracker. So we're going to move our hips and we're going to put our knee underneath the back of his neck. We're going to bring the other knee over the top. Sometimes it's called a scissor choke. So we keep the Kimura in place. I keep this as like a bit of security. So if I can't quite get the nutcracker submission, I've still got the Kimura in place. Then we're going to cross our legs up, straighten, and we just basically like squeeze on the neck. Super disgusting choke that you need to be a little bit careful with. Not able to get that, so what I'm going to do, scissor the legs. I'm going to pull myself up to the top position. So what submissions do we have available from here? If I can manage to get the grip break, I've got the Kimura. Even if I don't have the grip break, I can step up and I'll come down into the armbar position and then work for the grip break. We can step through his foot, fall down to the side, and we can lock up this side triangle. And we can push on this arm to finish the Kimura, or we can look for wrist lock on this arm. Or we can just come to the top and say we were stuck in their half guard a minute ago. Now we've realized what we wanted and we got ourselves into this top position. Another nice option from here is to start looking for the back take as well. Okay? Sorry?
Tarikoplata.
Yeah, absolutely, and tarikoplata as well. So, from here, if his hands are apart, we're gonna turn ourselves onto our belly, rip his hand down to the floor. My elbows touch, weight onto the shoulder, lift and finish. Or if I can't quite finish that, walk around, step over, and finish the regular Kimura. If he's locked in his hands, I can bring my knee underneath the neck, cross, squeeze for the nutcracker. Sit myself up, go for regular Kimura, go for armbar. Can step through this gap and look for the side triangle. So we bring our knee behind the neck, drop down and finish. Or, like Chris just mentioned, a really nice option from here, if he's got his arms connected, is to step through. Lock on to my own thigh, face my hand, and start to turn around. Tarikoplata. Whole lot of stuff there. You guys remember it all? All right, work through it. I'll come give you some help if you need it. All right, let's do it, guys. 1, 2, 3, let's go.